Nightmare Tales is back with Stasis Nightmares. This one's called The Pig Farmer. I absolutely love his animation style. I think you will too. Guys, make sure to head to his channel and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you like reaction videos. Subscribe to my channel as well. Let's get into this reaction. Nightmare Tales, Stasis Nightmares, Episode 2. Episode 1 is on my other channel. It was really, really good. It was called The Rat Man. Look, that was the tail. I love his art style, man. It's gorgeous. Stasis Nightmares, Episode 2, The Pig Farmer. 2100 AD. So these people are experiencing nightmares in their stasis.
This citizen, Stephen Kushner, finds himself hitchhiking on a desolate road in Middle America.
All right.
His blistered feet rubbing raw against his tattered shoe leather, the pain keeping his exhausted frame awake, for he knows that if he stops moving, the cold will quickly consume him.
Yeah, that's rough.
He has no memory of the past events that put him into such circumstances, and is genuinely terrified of what future events may lay ahead. In the distance, he sees the dim lights of a vehicle approaching through the fine mist of his strained breath. He desperately wants to be picked up, to get out of the bitter cold, and to rest his poor, aching feet, but he doesn't hold much confidence in success.
Okay.
The last few cars rattle past him, only one acknowledging his existence with an ear-piercing blast of their horn.
God
This
dang
time,
it.
however, was different.
Hey,
The truck was slowing, and eventually ground to a halt when it pulled
it's like a
alongside
farming
him.
truck.
Not a kind night to be out for a stroll, the deep male voice from the truck
Exactly.
called.
Can you help?
No choice, I'm afraid, Stephen croaked back, squinting to make out the figure within. I'm completely lost, and I have no idea where I'm headed. Jump in then, the man was quick to offer. The
Wow.
homestead's not far off the road ahead, and I'll give you a warm bed and supper in return for some labor.
Oh, well, there you go.
Stephen was shaking.
He's trying to pick up free
This is
labor?
exactly what he'd been wishing for,
Oh, my
but his
God.
gut clawed at him not to commit.
You think
Quickly then,
this
the
is
man
what you've
boomed
been
again,
looking for.
giving Stephen no time to think it through. Too cold and too rushed to think clearly, he stepped forward.
Would you stop
Thank you, sir.
for a person
Thank
on the
you.
side of the road, a stranger like
The
that,
name's
in
Tom.
the middle of the night?
Don't mention it. It'd be good to have some company. My wife has been on a serious cognitive decline as of late.
Uh-oh.
Hearing
So
this
he's
didn't make him
lonely.
feel any better. He stayed
Ah.
close to his side of the cab for the duration of the ride.
I have a
to the
feeling it's going to be a
farmhouse.
lot darker, though.
It was a rundown
Did
old
that.
place. Exactly what Steve had expected.
Yeah.
A barn
Old
to one
farm.
side, silos next to that,
Mm-hmm.
another ramshackle lean-tos and half-attempted hen houses varying in states of decay scattered around. Harder to make out in the moonlight was a huge shed behind the farmhouse.
Right.
Stepping out of the car, the dull odor of a piggery intensified immediately. And he
Aha.
pulled his scarf over his nose and mouth in an
Oh,
attempt to filter
That
it
is
out.
nasty smell.
Don't mind the smell, the farmer started. I can assure you, you don't smell much better. Stephen
Wow.
didn't disagree. He knew he must reek from being on the road for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And even longer since he could remember his last
Remember, this
bath.
is all a dream.
Upon entering the house, the farmer directed Steve to take a seat in the dining room while he went to the kitchen to fetch his wife
Yeah?
and reheat some leftover stew.
Mmm.
The dining room was dimly lit, and he scanned around the room at the unsettling and eerie choice of decorations.
Oh my God, dude.
While looking about, he overheard the farmer talking to what he assumed was his wife in the kitchen.
Okay.
He couldn't make out exactly what they were saying, but sentences along the lines of, I've found someone.
They just
And
found a victim.
He should do nicely.
They're gonna...
Genuinely made him want to flee. But he was so hungry that he figured he would eat first. He could fight off the old farmer if need be.
That's scary thinking,
Moments
man.
later, the farmer entered the room along with a large pot and an old frail lady by his side. She held herself close to him, for it was clear that she was completely blind.
Right.
Introductions were made, and dinner was served. Steve was famished, and he quickly tucked into the hot stew to
I
quell his
guess
hunger
so.
pangs and to thaw out his frozen bones.
So, was
Within
it
minutes,
poison?
Steve was finished. However, his feelings of satisfaction were short-lived as he began to feel dizzy and he watched the couple in front of
They
him
drugged
slowly
him.
blur away
I had a feeling,
into
man.
darkness.
I had a feeling.
It's time, barked the farmer. Hours had passed, and Steve found himself in yet another completely unfamiliar setting.
Were they
He was on a
feeding him
couch
to the
in what was
pigs?
perhaps the living room?
What was that
He
movie?
croaked. Time for what? Feeding time, the farmer replied. Come with me.
Or he wants him to feed the
Steve,
pigs.
still feeling extremely groggy, pulled himself to his feet and followed the farmer outside.
Right.
You passed out pretty swiftly last night, the farmer began. Thought you might be ill, but you slept so soundly, I figured you was just exhausted.
I wonder.
Replied Steve.
Snatch is the movie I was
Sorry,
thinking of.
I really don't know what happened. It's fine, muttered the farmer. I would have let you sleep, but you're needed.
Okay.
The farmer slid back the huge steel door to the piggery, and Steve was nearly knocked off his feet by the incredible stench. Dear God, he
Pigs in a
coughed.
box.
Ain't no God here, the farmer quipped. These beasts be Satan's finest.
What?
Steve then reeled back at the sight of hundreds of massive, overgrown hogs
Oh my
stretching far
God.
into the darkness. The pens packed to capacity, and the deafening sound of the grunting and squealing assaulted his eardrums with the power
Good
of an avalanche. It's feeding time, the farmer boomed. They know when they see me, they're about to get fed. Stephen froze. What do they eat?
Trap door.
He asked. Anything, the farmer shot back. Anything at all. They'll carve through an entire cow in minutes if I was to let them have it one. Is that what you feed them? Stephen cautiously inquired.
No.
Not sure he
I
was
feed
going
them
to like
people.
the answer. Ha! Nothing that big. Have to settle with corn and grain.
What?
He grunted as he pulled a lever which opened chutes
Oh,
around the shed.
I was
allowing the
expecting
feed
a
to
trap
cascade
door,
into
dude.
Each pen, amplifying the already ear-splitting ambience tenfold. Steve watched on in awe as the pigs scrambled over each other in order to fill their greedy guts with no regard for any other.
Right.
Have to ration it though, the farmer quipped as he shut the lever off. The supply is running low, and I can't afford to be greedy. The vision
Right.
quickly made his mind flash back to when the rich and powerful were being selected for a berth on the Soteria. Men, women, and children were trampled, beaten, and shot in order to remove them from the chosen ones and allow openings for others.
Basically how
The true
the original
colors
ship
of the
got
worst
stopped.
of all human beings had been revealed,
Via
and
episode
sadly, only the absolute worst had managed to make their way onto the ship.
Of course.
The select few were now the future of the human race.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen was one of them.
Wow.
Steve then spent the next few weeks
He
working in return
actually
for food and shelter.
Did bad
The farmer
stuff to
explained how
the
the
people
farm
to
had
get
really
on it.
fallen on tough
Survival
times
of the fittest,
and wasn't
I
sure
guess.
how much longer
It's
he could keep
cruel,
it going.
gruesome, but true.
Steve said he was happy to stay around as long as he was needed.
Okay.
He had grown less paranoid of the farmer's intentions for him
Okay.
and was finding it easier to relax when alone.
Yeah, it seems
That
like
was
he's fitting right in.
Until he was visited one afternoon by a large, imposing man who appeared to have just wandered onto the property.
Okay.
At first, his features were hard to make out. That was, until he stepped into the light, and a shock of panic ran through Steve's veins as he realized the man's eyes were weeping blood.
What?
Stop right there, Steve
Again,
snapped.
it's a dream.
This is private property. You need to leave. I'm no threat, the man calmly
But your
replied
eyes are
back.
bleeding, dude.
In fact, I'm here to warn you, he whispered.
Okay.
The old couple are planning to feed you to the pigs.
What?
Steve hurled back at him. That's ridiculous. They like having me
We
here.
kind of thought that
I'm helping
from the
them
beginning,
out.
but
You sure are. I mean, you sure will. Steve wanted to beat the man over the head with his shovel, but deep down he knew he was right.
yeah.
He knew they were plotting his end.
Yeah, that sickening
The
feeling.
man smiled at Steve and spoke sternly. Look, the name is Blacker,
He's not.
and I'm just here to
His
warn
eyes
you.
weren't bleeding anymore.
Get out of here. Join me. I'll take you to a better place. Steve
So what
stared
does he
deep
want with
into
him,
the man's
though?
eyes and was about to speak when he was cut off by the old farmer calling out for him. Steve turned and called out, and when he turned back, the man was
The
gone.
man was gone.
Steve then questioning if he was even real.
What the heck,
That night,
dude?
at a time where Steve would normally be fast asleep, he lay in bed wide awake due to the trauma caused by the unpleasant encounter he had experienced earlier in the
Sure.
day.
Trying to
It was
figure out
then
whether he's going to
He
leave or
began
not.
to overhear the conversation between the old couple downstairs.
Okay.
He could only make out portions of it, but it was clear they were planning something
Put
for
the
him.
glass
He heard
up
his
to the
name
door,
referenced in the same sentence as, "It's time," and "I'll take care of it tomorrow."
Uh-huh.
Steve didn't sleep a wink that night,
No.
on high alert for what was to come.
Why didn't you leave?
The next morning, he rose as usual, before sunrise, and was greeted outside by the farmer who suggested that they both go and feed the pigs first thing in the morning.
Right.
Are you sure you don't want me to go and fill the water truck for them first? Steve inquired. as that was generally his first task
Is
of
he
the
gonna
day,
turn on the farmer?
one he would do alone.
Which
Nope,
happens to be
farmer
innocent?
shot back. Need you in the
Because of
piggery
his nature?
now. Steve reluctantly agreed, and they entered the large steel shed with the farmer leading the way.
He's gonna get rid of the farmer.
The air was more rancid
feel
than
it,
usual,
y'all.
and Steve began to shake, unable to fully deal with what he knew was about to happen. The grain ran out yesterday, the farmer started.
Uh-huh.
I can't afford any more until I get these pigs to market in a fortnight, and they'll die before then. So we have to make a sacrifice. As the words left his lips, the farmer drew a large knife from his belt and moved it forward. Steve instinctively swatted it with his hand, and it scuttled across the floor below. "What the hell are you doing?" snapped the farmer. "Getting in first," hurled back Steve as he pushed the old man over the edge and into the churning mass of the bloodthirsty pigs. The entire shed erupted with a cacophony of squealing as the farmer was torn to shreds, completely disappearing from view in a matter of seconds. Steve stood on the edge of the pen and stared down at the madness. His deep
was
breath
he innocent?
heaving through the clenched teeth
He
of his
pulled out the
manic
knife.
smile. It was time to go.
Yeah.
Stepping back into the house to pick up the keys to the truck, the old lady called out to who she thought was her husband from the living room.
Right.
"Did it go okay, Tom?" Steve didn't reply. "Did he have the stomach to help you kill a few hogs for feed?" "I sure hope so. We'll show he's got what it takes to keep this place going when we're gone."
it! Oh,
Steve
can you
froze.
imagine how you
The
feel?
guilty regret of what he'd just done hit him like an icy blast. They were going to kill some pigs, to feed them to the pigs.
Yep.
They were going to gift him the farm. He rapidly backed out of the house in an attempt to avoid the horrific realization hitting home any harder. Shaking like a leaf, he started the truck.
The man's in
where
it?
he noticed Blacker was waiting for him. "You made me kill an innocent man," Steve barked. "I didn't know," Blacker calmly replied. "I do know that you're a murderer, though."
Yeah?
"You can't tell anyone," Steve begged. "It's fine," Blacker assured him. "Stick with me and do what I say, and you'll have nothing to worry about."
So Blacker is
Back on the
also
ship.
the murderer?
It was noted that Steve's cognitive state had been altered, and he would have to be monitored closely to prevent any further brain damage.
Oh my.
And in a pod, right
Dan
next to
J.
his,
Blacker.
Dan Blacker smiled, as he had now successfully recruited a lackey.
Oh snap. The stories are starting to connect. I love this series. It's so good, man. You guys should check out episode 1. It's on my other channel, but I'll link it to you in the description. And man, I'm looking forward to some more, guys. Nightmare Tales, make sure to check him out, as well as a couple other reaction videos that I think you might like. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.